Hello, I'm Ellen McShane, and I'm just really pleased to be here with you today to talk to you about a tool that's very simple that can help you manage your emotions. It activates and uses our affects to allow us to be in the moment, to pay attention to what we're experiencing, and to allow stress to lift. So I hope you'll stay with me throughout the entire video so that you can get a sense of why affect labeling can offer you a wonderful tool for managing emotions. And we're really talking about an evolutionary tale because evolution allowed us to progress from prehistoric man to social beings where relationships allow us to heal. And we now know that we are shaped by both our genes and our experience, but yet science has been able to explain that our environment and our experience has more of an impact on us than our genes, which is quite exciting. And that comes from the fact that prior knowledge is so persistent. So as a child, from the ages of 1, from birth all the way to age 6 or 7, we're in a hypnotic state where we just download the beliefs and understandings of the people around us. And then we spend the rest of our lives trying to understand what's important for us. But that persistent early learning can have great impact. And we now know also that each cell, completely its own system, a complete system, an entire system, each cell in our body, which there are billions of them, receives stimuli from the environment. And so they're picking up the positive stimulus, and they're also picking up the negative stimulus. And if the environment and our experience is forming who we are, it means that our cells are the conduit for this to happen as they interface with our environment. So affects and the affective system is an approach that uses all biological systems. The affect system looks at emotions and feelings and affects, the brain with our cognition, the drives with hunger drive, our sexual drive, our need to breathe, and the pain system. They all work together in one holistic system that's just amazing. We're amazing human beings. And affect theory evolved to reduce stimulus confusion because we have so much stimulus coming to us every single moment that we need to know what's the most important thing. And so affects were coded into our body, and they're based in our biology. And the stimulus coming into our system activates the affects so that we can pick out the most important stimulus coming our way. And our feelings are also our biology because they tell us which affect has been activated. So if you're feeling anxious, it means that your fear affect has activated. And emotions are your biology using affects and feelings, but they use the biography, your experience, to bring the past into the system. And so if you have unresolved emotions and feelings from the past, they are going to totally impact the present moment because of the emotions. And the whole process means our body is keeping the score. And so all our positive energy is coming in and enhancing our cells, and all the negative energy that's coming in is killing ourselves and making us potentially open to disease. One thing that we know happens because of our ability to learn when things are repeated in our lives. You don't want to have to relearn over and over, so our brain makes sure you learn it pretty quickly. But what happens is you get patterned and scripted, and much of that becomes part of the subconscious mind, things that you're just not even aware of. And so our goal is to take the subconscious mind and move it into the conscious mind so that you're aware of what's going on within you and around you. What happens with all of these unconscious scripts and patterns is that they become hidden beliefs. So you end up thinking, and believing that you're not a good person. You might think of yourself as a liar because of certain thing that you did for once in your life when you lied about something and that convinced you were a liar, or you just think people don't like you. So it can be very important to understand any of these subconscious concepts and beliefs that are really controlling you in the moment. The affective system is completely how we're motivated. If an affect is activated, you are motivated to do something about it. It's how we survived. We took the 9 affects, the 2 of them that are positive, interest to excitement, where you have to have interest to excitement in order to learn, and enjoyment to joy, when you're enjoying something diminishing, like a negative affect, or you've completed a project and you're proud of what you've done. The neutral affect is surprised or startled. It's a loud noise. It's something that tells you that you need to be alert and things are about to change. Then there are 6, only 2 positive, but there are 6 negative affects. And all of these affects, well, actually, 7 of the affects are on a continuum. So distress to anguish is 1 negative affect, fear to terror, anger to rage, shame to humiliation. And these affects are spread out throughout your body. Disgust and dismell are connected to your hunger drive. And so they're very much connected to your gut and the reaction that you get when you talk about having a gut reaction to something. Or you often hear that the stomach is the second brain. And it's because of the affects being activated here. These didn't start off as affects. They started off as just the importance of keeping the baby safe, right? You don't want the baby eating something that's disgusting. And so a bad taste means that the baby spits it out. Something smells bad, the baby doesn't want to approach it. And dismell was an affect that was named. It's like made up name, but it talks about the things that just really are appalling. You don't want to have anything to do with them. It's the basis for prejudice. You can often hear people say, oh, that person stinks. And that can give you a clue to the person being prejudiced against the other person. So have you ever overreacted? Well, affects activate in the moment based on the stimulus coming in from the environment, going into your cells, coming into your body. But anything that mimics or reminds you of the past and some unresolved affect or feeling that never was processed, those past affects activate at the exact same time. And so what happens? You end up living in the past. And when you think about the moment that you're in, and you have this very charged response to it, you're wondering, where is it coming from? Well, it's coming from unresolved past affects and feelings. And it just stays stored in the body, waiting to explode. And to any time that you're in a negative state, using a negative affect, you're making matters much worse. So remembering that can also help you. And the more you can be in your positive affects, the better. Because the central blueprint for intimacy and communication through affect theory helps you understand you need to express all your affects so that they don't get blocked and stored for future use, so to speak. So you want to name your affects. You want to maximize your positive affects. That's going to help you there, and minimize the negative affects. And we can use the voice to do all this because the power of the voice is just amazing. Language is the most important and powerful tool we have. Just think of therapy, right? But putting affects into words or affect labeling is truly a remarkable tool. And researchers from UCLA found that when they had people who were in stress name their affect or their feelings out loud, that the amygdala, which is part of the emotional brain, and the limbic system activated. And when that amygdala activates and the emotional brain is active, it sends out connections to the rational brain to shut it down. And so in a moment of emotional response, if you stay with the amygdala being activated, you are going to be in a negative place. And by calming the amygdala, you're able to activate your rational brain and get access to thinking and coming up with a solution for the problem or the situation that you're in. So how do you manage your affects? Well, you practice paying attention in the moment, being conscious. What's happening? What's going on? How am I experiencing things? You want to ask, how am I feeling? You then name your affects out loud. You just use a simple sentence. And I find using the words connected with those 9 affects that we talked about really helps. So when I'm getting anxious, I say I'm experiencing fear. And I find that the stress releases, it can happen at different times. The more I practice, the quicker the stress leaves, but it can be changed within a 5 or 10 minute range. You then tap into the rational brain as the emotional brain relaxes, and you develop your awareness through focused attention, paying attention to the moment. And you use that focused attention to integrate the brain, which can get impaired and separated if you're constantly emotional and not able to tap into the rational brain. So understanding helps us find safety and happiness. So I'm hopeful that you can see the power of affect labeling and may be curious about learning more about it and more about affect theory and how you can take these very simple but very profound ideas and make them part of your life. Well, I've written a book that I would like to share with you if you're interested. And it's called Conquering Trauma and Anxiety to Find Happiness. There's a link connected to this video or in the post connected to this video that you can access this book through Amazon. So I hope that you will think about ending some of the emotional stress that you're under with this simple tool and find ways to really manage your affects so that those negative affects, they're always going to activate because they're hard-coded in our bodies, but you want them to leave quickly. If you're a healthy person, they just leave because you're like, oh, I'm angry about something, but I don't need to get out of control. I don't need to attack anyone. I just have to understand what I need to do to change it. So I hope you will consider purchasing my book and understanding affect theory and affect labeling so that you too can find happiness every moment of your life. Thank you so much.